Welcome back to the deep dive. This time we're,
Trading our scuba gear.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For,
A fedora.
yeah, a fedora and a press pass
Yeah.
into 1950s New York City.
And we have just the guide for that.
Oh.
Who's that?
Cat Sebastian's. We Could Be So Good. A novel that perfectly really captures
The feel.
the feel of the time,
The unspoken rules.
especially for two men navigating love and identity in that era.
It feels like you're reading someone's diary, you know? Like you're really getting these whispered secrets.
Yeah.
We're introduced to Nick Russo, a hardworking reporter at the New York Chronicle.
Right.
And he's all about blending in,
Very much.
staying invisible. Then there's Andy Fleming.
The opposite.
Oh, yeah.
Sunshine and privilege just radiating off of him.
And the son of Nick's boss.
Yes.
Their first meeting is
A little bit.
a little bit.
Sparky.
Eh.
Not necessarily in the romantic sense just yet.
Yeah, not yet.
Not yet.
So it's so interesting how
Yeah.
you have Nick living with this fear.
Constant fear of exposure.
Yeah.
You know? And those expectations.
Societal expectations
Uns-
of the time.
Yeah.
And then Andy, who's just,
Oblivious.
yeah, completely.
And he's just drawn to Nick.
Yeah,
Just like,
immediately he
Hmm.
sees something.
it's like they're in two different worlds, even though they're in the same newsroom.
Totally.
What I love
Yeah.
is how Sebastian uses these small moments
Yeah.
to show us their character.
Uh-huh.
Like when Nick practically tackles Andy.
It's protect him.
Yeah, to protect him from being hazed
Yeah.
by
Right.
the other reporters.
It's played for laughs,
Yes,
but there's so much more there.
it's like this quick moment,
Yeah.
but it tells us so much about Nick.
Totally.
He's protective.
He cares.
He cares, but he tries to hide it.
Yeah.
It makes you think,
Yeah.
what would it have been like
To live like that
to live with that fear
every day.
of being yourself,
Yeah.
to have to hide who you are,
Makes you think about the cost of conformity, you know?
the sacrifices that people made.
It's just to survive, really.
And I think for anyone listening today,
Yeah,
it gives you that perspective
it does.
on the freedoms that we have,
Absolutely.
that other people fought for.
Yeah,
But then there's Andy.
right.
He's so earnest,
Yeah, yeah.
almost naive,
In the beginning,
but you can tell
he's got this depth.
that he wants more.
There's more to him than meets the eye.
And what people think.
Yeah, and he wants more.
He wants more for himself.
Uh-huh.
Like when he falls out of the boat,
Oh, that was so funny.
it's almost slapstick.
Yeah.
But it creates this moment.
Intimacy, vulnerability.
Yeah, it changes things between
It
them.
really does.
And he insists.
On taking care of Nick.
Yeah. After the
Nick.
newsroom scuffle,
Putting a Band-Aid on Nick's head.
and the cut won't ruin his pretty face.
That line, I mean, come on.
I know. It's like,
It says so much. It's just a throwaway line,
right.
but it's everything.
It's how he sees Nick.
Totally.
The attraction is definitely there.
Simmering under the surface.
And Nick's trying to fight it.
Oh, absolutely.
But he can't help but be drawn to Andy.
Right.
It's that tension
Push and pull.
that makes it so good.
You can feel the danger.
The forbidden.
Uh-huh.
It makes every little thing
Meaningful.
so meaningful.
Every glance, every word,
Yes,
loaded.
exactly.
And as their connection deepens, things get a lot more complicated.
The stakes are higher.
Exactly.
Like when Andy's
It's splitting
engagement
apart.
completely falls apart.
Yeah.
Emily breaking things off with him
Break.
in London, of all places.
Yeah.
And he ends up,
At Nick's apartment.
of all the places to go.
Right.
What could possibly go wrong?
Or right.
Yeah,
So Andy's in this vulnerable place,
super vulnerable.
and it gives Nick permission to kind of,
Open up a little.
let his guard down.
He starts to talk about his family,
Uh-huh.
his fears.
About not being accepted.
Yeah, for who he is.
Right.
It makes you think
Yeah.
we all need someone
Uh-huh.
to be vulnerable with.
To let us be vulnerable too.
Yeah.
Like we need that permission sometimes.
And it's a big deal for Nick to admit these things.
Especially to Andy.
The son of his boss.
You know.
It shows how much trust has built.
Yeah.
And of course, Andy walks in on Nick.
With another man.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
This could have been it.
It could have ended everything.
But
But
instead,
it becomes this turning point
yeah, it changes things.
for both of them.
For Nick,
Yeah.
it's this moment of terror.
Exposure.
His secret's out.
But for Andy, it's something else.
What is it for him?
It's a revelation.
Yeah.
He has to confront his own ideas.
About everything.
Love, sexuality,
His whole life.
everything he thought he knew,
You can see him
processing it all.
trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's not just about Nick.
No.
It's about Andy, too.
He's discovering something about himself.
And then we see this change.
In Andy?
He becomes so protective
Fiercely protective.
of Nick.
Yeah.
Especially when Nick starts getting those threats.
Because of his investigation.
The police corruption.
Right.
Andy knows how dangerous it is.
For Nick's career and his life.
He goes to his dad.
Demands that he protect Nick.
And the other reporters.
The ones who are also gay.
That's amazing.
This transformation.
He's not that carefree guy anymore.
He's become an ally.
He knows what's right.
And he's going to fight for it.
And then he buys the building.
The whole building.
Where Nick lives.
I know.
It's romantic.
Of course.
But it's also...
a safe haven.
Yeah.
He's creating a place where Nick can be himself.
It makes you think.
Yeah.
About how we can do the same.
For the people we care about.
How can we protect them?
Create those safe spaces.
It's so important.
Really is.
And that's how we see Andy's love.
Deep, true love.
He understands Nick.
Completely.
And accepts him.
Unconditionally.
And Andy's own journey.
Coming to terms with his sexuality.
Makes their relationship...
so powerful.
They're equals.
Yeah.
In this world that's against them.
And it's what makes it so hopeful.
This love story.
Yeah.
In a time when it was so difficult.
It makes you believe.
That love can win.
It can overcome anything.
Remember when Nick goes to that gay bar?
Oh, yeah.
With Andy?
For the first time.
He's so out of his element.
Totally uncomfortable.
But then he meets...
Mark Bailey.
his colleague.
Right.
And it's like he finds...
This people.
This whole community.
That he never knew existed.
It's so powerful.
It shows that even back then.
When things were so hard.
There were these networks.
Secret networks.
Of support and community.
Places where people could be themselves.
And find acceptance.
It's like finding your tribe.
Absolutely.
Your people.
The ones who get you.
And that's when Nick and Andy really...
start to thrive.
They find their place.
Yeah.
And they start to change the world around them.
Like at the Chronicle.
Yeah. Nick starts writing stories.
That
giving
part.
voice to the voiceless.
Powerful stories.
That-
As the future publisher.
Yeah.
He supports it.
He wants the paper to be a force for good.
For social justice.
It's amazing.
How love can inspire change.
It makes you think.
What are we doing?
To make the world a better place.
Are we using our voices
Or action.
to fight for what's right?
A powerful message.
It really is. Love can be a real driving force.
Oh yeah, for change.
Not just in our own lives,
But
for the world around us.
And you see that transformation
You really do.
in that last scene.
Oh, on the rooftop.
Yes. The rooftop scene.
It's a celebration.
It really is.
With everything they've built.
Their love,
The family they made.
it just leaves you feeling
Hopeful.
hopeful, yeah.
Like no matter what,
You can overcome anything.
you can find love
can connect.
and build something beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what are we taking with us from this deep dive
that love can show up anywhere.
in the most unexpected places?
And that letting yourself be vulnerable,
Is a strength, not a weakness,
it lets us connect with others.
and makes us stronger
And that we all have a part to play.
in making the world a better place.
It's a powerful message.
It really is.
And it makes you think,
It does, doesn't it?
what if this story
This love story
was happening today?
in our world,
Would it be different
would it be easier?
or harder?
Something to think about.
Until next time.
The deep dive.